Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Profit Minds podcast. My name is Dr. Stephen Kirch, and I'm the creator of the Profit Minds Growth System, a unique blend of profit growth, productivity acceleration, and building business process for scale. In every episode, I interview entrepreneurs and small business owners from around the world with a unique story to tell. You can find the show on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. Today, my guest is Carolyn Cooper-McOuatt of Inspired Business Development and co-founder of Grand Connection Global Community. That's an awful lot to say, isn't it?
Yes.
Today, we'll be talking about how you as a business leader need to rise up in the face of all that's going on in the world. Welcome, Carolyn.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. And I am honored to be here. And, as I said before we got on here, that everything that you stand for is in complete alignment as far as your core values, what you lead with, and what you serve as a business leader. So thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it very much.
Well, it's great to have you with us here. The thing that I start with all my guests is I love to hear the story of how you got to be where you are.
Oh my goodness, that is such a broad-ended question, but I will share this, is I figured out in my 20s that sales was my ticket to freedom. So I absorbed and learned everything I could about understanding people, understanding how they made decisions, understanding how they stepped through the decision process. And I found it incredibly rewarding. I learned it was very humbling. I was very successful in my 20s. And that led me to making a lot of financial abundance and being bored.
Huh.
It did. So then I wanted to, my next intention and, path for growth was teaching. So I started teaching business planning at a local college in Vancouver, British Columbia. And I just fell in love with the purpose and passion of entrepreneurs. And teaching sales, teaching communications, teaching business planning, I would teach way outside the box, and people would transform their results. And it was very inspiring for me to lead them. And then I decided I would venture off on my own and become a keynote speaker, trainer, corporate trainer, executive coach. And I had the honor of leading many, many businesses for decades doing that. And then on March 15th, 2020, I'm standing at the Grand Canyon with one of my instructors that we used to teach at the college together 26 years before that, and COVID hit. And we stood there looking at this miracle and knew that we had to do something. We could not sit back. All these businesses would be in catatonic fear, not even know how to navigate forward, and that we could not sit back. So we started the Grand Connection, and it just started out just doing webinars and teaching everything that we knew, and more businesses came, more countries came, and then we started a membership after about 1 year and 3 months, and it's been 3 years of incredible learning, and it's become our calling, as well as our own businesses. It's become our calling to serve these businesses. 35 countries and over 6,000 businesses have come through the Grand Connection in the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember being on one of those early calls, and it was not a big community, but so inspiring.
Thank you.
The way in which you talk about how businesses should work together, and the importance of that.
Everything that we stand for is collaboration, people. So honestly, no business ever ever has to be alone and suffer. There's certain things that you know about business, and there's certain things that you have limitations and may not feel confident. There are people out there that want to support you, guide you, encourage you, whether it be a community member at the Grand Connection, whether it be an incredible organization like Profit Minds, or whether it be individual coaching. So, our mission is to let people know that you never, ever have to be alone on your business.
That's so important. I'm on the board of the Gratitude Network, and the consistent feedback that we get, because these are social entrepreneurs that are working in they're all over the world, just like Grand Connections. They're social entrepreneurs. So these are leaders of basically not-for-profit organizations that are helping children and youth, and we get them together as a cohort to run through our program for a year. The consistent feedback, there are two things that they say are just so important to them. One is the coaching that they get, and the other is the leadership development that happens. And the other is knowing that there are other people experiencing and struggling with exactly the same thing that they are. And even if they don't have the answer, having that community of like-minded individuals is so important.
Well, especially now. I mean, it's always been important. Community, to me, I've led many communities in the past and networking organizations. None has felt like this one, because of our core values, which is create opportunities, connect in Grand Connections, and collaborate. And, if I look at my success, it's always been collaborating. We're collaborating right now, Stephen. I am honored to be on your podcast, and who knows what this will take us to. So it's having this incredible open mindset with curiosity and wonder on how this connection, Grand Connection, can lead to other opportunities through your network, through my network, who I can connect you with. So, a lot of businesses don't organically and naturally think of that as incredible resources within their business.
Yeah. So how would you recommend that a business leader, we said we were going to talk about stepping up. How would you recommend that they step up, they speak up, and serve their clients through those connections, those alliances, right? Well, whether it's Grand Connections or some other organization that they're a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. And number one that I have found in the last 40 some odd years that I have been supporting businesses is that businesses represent so much value in their expertise, in their talents, in their gifts, and they don't even know what that is. So I suggest number one is to know who you are. Authentically know the value that you stand for and represent. And then weave all of that truth, I call it truth marketing, into every marketing message. So it is a consistent message of truth marketing. And how you get that is ask for feedback. Ask your clients specifically, what has been the transformation that you have been through? I don't care if you are a dentist, a chiropractor who I'm working with right now, a registered massage therapist, a coach, whether you're running a training organization, you need to intimately understand the value that you represent. And it's not what you think. It's what they think.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter what you think.
Not it.
It's what they experience.
That's exactly right.
That matters.
That's exactly right. And to own that with confidence, with conviction, because my belief is every business, every entrepreneur has an opportunity to really rise up to be the leaders that they are truly meant to be. And I know that you and I share this same position of leadership with organizations as well as individuals. And a part of that is having a willingness to look at the truth about what is and be all in. If you're not 100% committed to what you're doing, how you're serving, that experience, as you just mentioned, Stephen, in the client journey and process, you need to be all in. And I see people treat their businesses without that 100% commitment and without that radical responsibility of being 100% accountable for the result.
Yeah, that's so important. To really understand and fully own who you are and what difference that makes for the businesses that you serve. Absolutely.
And the other piece for me, and you live this too, and I loved listening to you speak at one of the networking events that we both went to, and is this understanding of creating a delicious, delectable, sizzly vision. It has to be crystal clear in your mind on where you're going and truly what matters most to you as a business leader, and the impact and the major difference you're going to make in your business on people's lives, the planet, animals, whatever the framework is. But that vision has to be crystal clear for you, because that's what eliminates fear. That's what creates courage to keep expanding that comfort zone of where you are on what you know and what you don't know. But the vision, I think, needs to be absolutely inspirational.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. For me, the vision, is what's the difference you're going to make in the world for your clients, for your community, and for your team members as well.
Yeah. And strategic alliances. I mean, when I talk
partners as well. Yes.
Big time. I call them your dream team. That's what I call them. Whether it be that support system with, virtual assistants, whether that be a process that I talk about, which is create a love to-do list and then create a willing to let go draining list on your page. I did this, my whole entire world changed. So I know what I love to do that really feeds me, that nourishes me, that brings me that incredible vitality and energy and gratitude. I know what those things are. So what I did over a 2-week period, I just put a line down the middle of my page, and on the left-hand side, I went love to do. And anytime I was just loving the moment, I love doing this right now, is I would just add it to that list, all those things, one after another. And then on the other side, I'd be doing something that just drained me, that seemed like forever, that was hard, that was difficult, that just I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing. So I created all those things, which are usually the logistical aspects of doing things. So I let go to lead, which is one of my phrases, all those things on the right-hand side. And now I experience freedom.
Yeah, that's great. Tim Ferriss talks about a not-do list.
A not-to-do list. Yes.
Right. Yeah, we all have our to-do list, and everything's always on the to-do list. Well, he says there should be a not-do list. These are things I'm just never gonna do. And on the other hand, recognize that there are people who like to do the kinds of stuff that you don't like to do.
Yeah.
And so bring them to be a part of your team.
Absolutely. But here's my thing. People say, how do I do that? How can I create that to happen? You have to know what you want first. You have to know what you're willing to let go of first. So I had my whole entire design of my virtual assistant. And I believe, this is my belief, is the universe, God, source, love, whatever you want to call it, supports us and is always for us. So once I had that clarity, this person showed up at the Grand Connection, and she stayed on after the event. And I said, "Who are you?" She loves to do everything that I am willing to let go of. And for the last year and a half, that's exactly what's happened.
Wow.
It feels so great.
That's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was talking to a client about that this morning, about, the challenges of delegation. And, one of the challenges that we have is, sometimes there's stuff we like to do and are good at, but in reality, they don't bring as much value to the organization as the highest stuff that we can do.
Exactly.
And we really should delegate that. That's kind of a trap.
I agree 100%. And you have to have the willingness to surrender, to let go of control.
And there's two possible outcomes, right? I mean, yes, the person might not do it 100% as accurately or as well or whatever, perfectly as you can do it. But it'll get done without you having to do it.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing is they may come up with a better way of doing it that you hadn't even considered. And I'd be willing to bet that that's happened to you.
Oh, are you kidding? Like the innovative, creative aspects of the systems and processes that I was functioning from are far exceeded whatever I thought they could be now. And it's when people are living in their lane of joy, right? Their lane of genius, that's when things become better and innovative and creative and take it to a completely different form, I think, too.
Oh, absolutely. We get out of that reptilian brain of being afraid, of being stressed because this isn't something that I'm enjoying, or, oh gosh, I got to do that again. All those negative thoughts that spiral, the amygdala takes over, and your lizard brain, it can't think creatively. That's not what the lizard brain does. That's not what that piece of our brain does. And so if you're mired in those negative thoughts, and that's one of the reasons that a gratitude practice is so important.
Yeah, I journal every morning, but my gratitude practice wakes up the first second that I know I'm conscious, the first second that I know I'm no longer in ZZ land. So I look for 20 things and I keep going. I mean, sometimes my brain gets distracted, but I stay on the 20 and I do not physically get out of my bed until I've done those 20. And to me, that sets the tone for the whole day for me. The other piece is I want to share with you, it's very simple, but a woman gave me this key. Her name was Emma when I was 18 years old. And she taught me this philosophy and principle, thinking above the line. Do we all have a choice each moment to decide what we want to focus on and think about? And this takes conditioning and practice. Any percentage of increase to think above the line will add to your life, will add to the results that you're creating in your business. It will add to the relationships that are most important to you. And it's to live a life with a state of wonder on what can be. So that's why I'm so passionate about the vision, Stephen, because above the line is curiosity, preparation, planning, and solution, and then taking action. That's it. And below the line is having those negative self-talk, those thoughts of doubt and fear, because they feed on itself. And we will attract to us exactly what we are focusing on, because what we think, we feel, and then we take action on that. So I'm on a mission to support entrepreneurs to eliminate all fear by making the commitment to increase the percentage of time that they spend on thinking above the line. And that's what Emma taught me. And it's been teaching me for decades and decades and decades.
Wow. That's great. And in your phrase of rising up
Yes,
as business leaders,
yeah.
I'm assuming that's also about,
It
being
is.
above the line and
It's about making a clear decision to have courage in your life and your business. It's not about focusing on the past all the time, or being concerned about what might happen, or in fear of the future. It's about being here now. It's about being present, connected to your vision, and taking every single step that will feed and nourish and move you forward and build momentum towards that vision. And then there's peace of mind. There's no stress because you trust yourself, you know yourself, and you know that you're going in the direction that matters most to you, to your family, to your community, to your clients, all of it. And life flows that way. And I just want everybody to understand that life really happens with intention that way.
yeah, a couple of things that you said sparked some thoughts. One is that I have certainly found in my, I've been around this planet a number of years, and I have found that when I am moving in the direction that the universe wants to support me, that it's easier. And if I pay attention to when I run up into against those guardrails and say, oh, take that as a signal, perhaps that's not the direction I should go.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference.
Well, it does. And here's my belief is that everything that happens is for me. That is the good.
Doesn't happen to you.
Ever. That is the good, that is the indifferent, but that's also the challenging, because it's being what I call a conscious leader. It is being present and really being curious and open-minded as to, is this the direction? Okay, this is seeming challenging, hard, exactly what you just said. Now, what's the solution here? So my commitment and thinking above the line is absolutely knowing that a solution can be found immediately. There's no need for suffering ever, or being stuck, or wallowing, or being confused, because there is a solution. And I think our personally internal voice is there to guide us, to lead us and direct us, to listen and hear what that solution is. And also ask, be bold enough to ask for support, guidance. And that's why I love community, is because here I am in my business. This is my obstacle. This is my challenge. Anyone here in the breakout room have a solution for this, or creative, innovative ideas on how I can navigate through this?
Yeah. What's the approach that you've seen that you found to work, or what's an innovative idea that you think might help me in this case? That conversation is always so wonderful, and the community wants to support you.
Yeah, truth. And it's also being courageous, thinking above the line, making that choice to have courage and bravery to ask. What I find is a lot of businesses suffer in silence without asking for the support that they need to grow and lead. And, be willing to hear no. And no now, next. Stay in your lane of commitment to create that vision, because I think that we're all called to serve from our highest self. That's the other thing. And we have to love our business.
Yeah, and the other thing is, again, you mentioned the challenges. When we look backwards on where we've come from, the biggest times of growth have been when we've run into those challenges. Everybody knows that, and everybody sees it in their own life. But when you're in the midst of the challenge, Of course, you can decide to suffer. Suffering is a decision. It's a choice. Or you can decide to embrace it and work through it, get the support that you need. It's, absolutely.
It's critical. And so my position is this. I love business. I think it's the most adventurous, creative element. I don't care what kind of business you're in, but each business is so unique within themselves, and the whole navigation to growth is just fascinating to me. And we all, I think, need to have this position in business, which is be a lifelong learner. Because when we're learning, we're moving forward. When we are thinking below the line, we are in doubt, fear, blame, resentment, confusion, frustration, procrastination. Yet, if we're learning, even if it's to reach out and learn something about a solution, that is moving and thinking above the line, because you're being curious. You're having a state of wonder. What can I learn from this challenge? What is it that I need to know right now to implement in my business that will be a solution? And you'll find it very short time, but it's setting the intention.
Yeah, absolutely. So Carolyn, if someone wants to get in touch with you, and talk about either the Grand Connections or your inspired business, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Okay, so I invite people to reach out. I do a Power of Possibility complimentary session for people that are curious about their position for growth within their business, about their own conscious, inspired leadership. And you can find that on my website, inspiredbusiness.ca. And for those people that are curious about a community that would like to be a part of a group of like-minded people that are grand givers, and our community is absolutely big-hearted grand givers and very, very wise leaders in the business world, like you are, Stephen, is go to grandconnection.ca. We have events every single week, and you can attend 2 events as a guest, and then we invite you to be a member for the minimal amount of $39.95 a month. And we welcome you. And our theme next month is sales. So the whole month is all about a masterclass on sales, member mingle. We have a mixer bringing one community from Scotland, another community from the US, to meet our folks and break out rooms and start building relationships together and collaborations. So I welcome you to that too.
Yeah. And it is truly a wonderful community. I highly recommend it.
Thank you.
And that concludes our show. Thanks to our guest, Carolyn Cooper-McOuatt of Inspired Business Development and co-founder of Grand Connection Global Community. I hope you've all learned something about how to step up as a business leader in the face of all that's happening in the world and moving above the line. I know I did. This is Dr. Stephen Kirch of Profit Minds. Make sure you catch us again next time on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. Of course, I'd appreciate a good review on any of those platforms. Thanks again for joining us.